Welcome to the Properties to Profit podcast. I'm Michael, your host. Excited to share with you my journey from a six-figure job to building a successful real estate business. Each episode will explore various aspects of real estate investing, from wholesaling and flipping to managing rentals. I'll share the lessons and insights I've gained, aiming to help you avoid mistakes and achieve your financial goals. Expect guest experts, valuable tips, and practical advice to guide you on your own real estate journey. Thank you for tuning in. If you find any value in this podcast, please subscribe, share, and follow me on social media. Let's turn properties into profits together. Hey guys, Michael here with Properties to Profits. And today I want to do a WealthCon recap. I'm wearing my Wealthy shirt from Ryan Pineda's event. The event was another great event that him and his team put on in July at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Was it a hot one? Not only weather was hot, but they were giving so much good information. And I just want to take the time to recap it because that has been a pivotal point for me and my growth, allowing me to get better every month, every quarter, every year. And it allows me to grow pretty quickly. And I want you guys to have that same ability here. So what we're going to do is kind of break down what kind of happened at this event, what I learned, coming to some of the speakers and all of those things. So Ryan breaks down his event into 4 days. The main event with all the speakers is 2 days, and then he brings in people with higher level tickets, MVP, his all-star students, all those things 2 days early. So I'm an all-star student, and so I come in 2 days early, and I do that to get into smaller rooms. And I advise you guys to pay that premium price. And I don't remember what on these tickets say it was $5,000 to get that extra 2 days, because that first day, that room was less than 75 people. I think it was closer to 50. And when you're in a room of 50 people that all paid $5,000 to get in that room, you're going to learn so much valuable information, and you're going to get more one-on-one team. Now, granted, not all the speakers are there, but Ryan and his team is there, and they have some valuable information. They had Gary with Sharper Business Solutions speaking too, and got to speak with him one-on-one a little bit. He's our business consultant, and every time I talk to him or his team one-on-one, I learn something, which is going to help my business grow, help my business with finances, tracking numbers, all very important things for this business. So wanted to break down what the first day was and wanted to give you guys some background. So the first day was an MVP day. This is for people who paid extra to go to this event, and they do an office tour, and then all of his major business units speak. So Ryan, of course, talked about what some things they're doing in the business. Ryan is going all in on social media marketing. He thinks for the home buying industry in general, it's going to be a great fill. And I don't necessarily disagree with him at all. He did cut out TV and radio and PPC. I haven't done that. I am doubling down on Facebook and running my own ads because I do think he has a very good point there. And if you want to learn how to get more leads, Ryan does have a thing called Lead Kitchen, and he will do it all for you. Shoot me a DM if you want to talk about that. We'll talk about if that's the best solution, or there might be something else that's better for you. So want to talk about that. That's what Ryan hit on first, right? And then his COO came on Hobby, and they kind of talked about decisions and how they made decisions, right? How are they going to know if this is the right thing? Ryan's started a lot of business, shut down a lot of businesses, has hundreds of ideas. And he just talked about his framework, and it was really good. I'll go into that framework at another time because I think it could go pretty deep there. Javi talked about how important hiring is and having a process and vetting people on the front end. And we have found that is so important to do. Auditing everything you do just to make sure that you're not missing anything. So many of us business owners miss anything. I'm going through right now. We just had a tax audit. We didn't miss anything major, but we did miss a couple small things, and we're getting that corrected right now. And so don't trust your third parties is what I'll say. And that's why you need to have systems. And Gary talked about that on how you can have systems checking things out for you, so you're not missing things that third parties are supposed to do. My personal thing that we went through is our third party was supposed to be submitting all of our taxes. They were missing one tax. It was the smallest tax, so we didn't notice it, right? We didn't know how to check it. It's shame on me. I'm the one that's got to pay the fine, all that stuff. They're going to reduce the fine, thank goodness. But it is what it is. They talked about how they review the company and what they do. They run in quarterlies, right? So every quarter they're setting goals, and then at the end of that quarter, they're talking about, did we hit our goals? Why didn't we hit our goals? What can we do to make sure we hit the goals the next time? So all very important things they talked about there. Make sure you're fulfilling all of your employees' needs in life. And so make sure you're having one-on-ones for those things and make sure they're getting everything they need out of life. Okay, guys? Justin Berry, who runs all of Ryan's social media, talked about he had everyone raise their hand, who's posting once a week, twice a week. And as it went up, right, the hands went down, right? But the key metric he talks about, I was the only person in the room posting content that was 10 minutes or length or more twice a week. No one else was. And the only other person who was doing it once a week was only doing it via podcast, not podcast and YouTube like we are. So people think, oh, it's too late to get the podcast and YouTube. Man, that is so false. I was in a room of 50 to 75 people and I was the only one, and they all consume it. They all consume it, but they all think it's too overgrown. So crazy, right? And I don't think there are that many people doing it compared to what it's going to be in 10 years. So just get started today and watch that grow. They talked about just be unique. Don't try to copy someone else. Be you. You can't compete with that. No one else is you. They talked about they don't focus on watches because a lot of people focus on watches. But if you look at all the watches, so they had this chart, and the chart showed how many views they had on YouTube and stuff that was like an hour or longer. I think it was 20 minutes or longer, and how many short views they had. They were about the same, right? It was like 52% on shorts and 48% on YouTube or something like that. But if you watched total minutes watched, it was like 90% YouTube and 10% shorts. And that was across like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. And that was crazy, right? What's that tell you? You can post the same amount of content in each one, but if one's an hour long every time, you're getting so many more minutes of watch time on that thing. And that's the important thing. So people were getting 90% of his, he had over, I want to say it was 1 billion minutes watched. He has over 1 billion views. And so it was basically split 500, 500. It was like 492 and 507 or something like that as far as views on YouTube versus short-term content under a minute. But the total watch time was 90% over on the stuff that was over an hour. So let that sink in, guys. You can have a lot of views on TikTok and stuff, but if they're not staying and getting to know you, what are you selling them? So that's why it's so important to be launching a podcast and YouTube and talking about good quality content. They talked about frameworks when shooting ads and stuff like that, how to make sure that your brand's aligned, all of those things, a lot of things that our small business owners make. And don't talk about what you're spending on marketing. Talk about what you're investing in marketing. It's just a little bit of a mind shift because you were spending that money hoping to get a return on it. You're not hoping to break even. If you're breaking even, it's probably not going to work out too well for you long term. So many people need visuals. So don't just go post words on podcasts. That's why they have me shooting this YouTube video. Different people need different things. Always have great stories. Great ways to tell, use metaphors, use ChatGPT to break things down. It really helps. Always record things, always be recording what you're doing in your life, and then allows you to share that story. Let others people connect with you. So that was kind of a recap of the first 2 days, which like I said, were pretty intimate. I got to talk to other business owners doing big things and connect with them and see how we could do better. And that's the important thing. The office tour, Ryan's office is pretty impressive. And so it's worth going for that. So next time there's a WealthCon, guys, make sure to shoot me a DM and let me see what I can do to get you a discount on those tickets. I think they're really, really big. So now let's talk about WealthCon day one. This is where the speakers start to come in and people get on stage and share their message. Okay, guys? All right. The first person to speak at WealthCon was Ryan. Ryan really talked about being present where your feet are. So many times, us as business owners, we're always focused on so many things, closing deals, wherever we are, and we're not focused on our family at hand and all of those things. And I think that's just Americans in general. I think that's part of the reason the divorce rate's 52%. I know that's the biggest reason I'm not in a relationship is I was never present where my feet were. And so we talked about putting your phone down, being present. You paid a lot of money to be here, and one connection can change your life. And it goes back to the McDonald's story, right? Who here thinks McDonald's is in the burger and fry business? Man, they're not. They're in the real estate business. And it took one person to tell them. And it only worked for Ray Kroc because he was present when that banker was telling him. And he listened to that banker. Go buy the land, lease it out to your franchisees. Now they have recurring revenue forever on top of the franchise fees. A lot of people don't realize that. Real estate isn't going anywhere, and people will always need a place to live. So the market may be tough right now, but keep going. It will even out, and you'll just be better next time. So that was the biggest takeaways I had from Ryan, that you're one change away. The real estate market may be hard right now, but it doesn't mean it will be hard forever. And just be present where you are. I think that's the biggest reason I was attracted to Ryan is wanted to be around his circle is he's always present where he is and he gets so much stuff done. Next, Brian DeVilla, which is his partner in Wealthy Way. Brian and I shot a podcast, so you'll see that released on their channel soon. Can't wait for you guys to check in on that and let me know what your thoughts are. And he talked about the same thing, like how are you controlling your time, right? Are you letting time control you or are you controlling it? Talked about his relationship with God and how once he got that relationship with God, a lot of things seem to free up with him. And he doesn't think that's a coincidence. And so he really said, hey, give all the glory to God and watch what happens. In real estate, he talked about how he's done so many burrs and he talked about how he does it. He also talked about the metrics. He knew his metrics pretty well. They closed 1 in 20 deals on Facebook. Text is 1 in 20. It takes 1,000 texts to get a lead on text messages. TV is 1 in 10. Mail is 1 in 10. PPC is 1 in 20. PPL is 1 in 20. And these are what they call qualified leads. They aren't people calling in want to telemarket to you or anything like that. Regulations on wholesaling, he talked about that. Just get better and be prepared for these changes. They're going to happen. It will scare a lot of people out. But if you're better and you're going to events like WealthCon or anything like that, you will learn so much and get so much better that you will be able to crush whatever problems come your way. Relationships. Relationships are really important. You never know who you're going to meet and network if they're at the event. So take the time to know people and get their phone numbers, have conversations. Look for what you need and help people get to the journey wherever you are. Also, if you want to grow, mentor others. When you can mentor someone, it shows that you actually know something and when you can teach that to someone else. So focus on doing that and giving back to others. Next person to speak, I was really amped up for. I want to have a big exit. Chris Lee started a solar company and in 5 years grew it to over $200 million, grew it out of his garage. And that's always been something I want to do is have a big exit. And so hearing his energy, talking about how value, everything is created from energy was amazing. I was like, man, that's so cool. People say I have so much energy. So that really fired me up. You can't do anything without energy, guys. So if you have a terrible energy, you got to fix that. You got to go to the gym, take cold showers. Those are all things I've done. Get out, get some sun. All those things help out with energy. And the one thing he wanted to say is most goals are given to you by society. And how do I know that? If I ask you how to do your goal, he said, it's going to be an even number. And that was so true. So he walked through an exercise on how to backdate your goals. And I'll do another podcast on that later because I thought it was really good. I've heard it from him and Brandon Turner. And so they both got big things going for them. So I'm guessing they're doing something right. He talked about how you get to where you want to be in 5 years and how he was able to grow his company from 0 to 250 million in 5 years and walk away with $100 million check at the end of that 5 years. Man, a small vision never inspired anyone. So always think bigger, always think bigger. That's why I think, I tell people, we're going to go to $100 million in assignments and flips in the next 5 years because I want to inspire as many people to go make a change. And I want as many people as possible to work here at my company, Oasis Home Buyers, and we can make a big impact on this world. The only way you're going to accomplish anything is have a great or be part of a great team. So that's why we're always trying to build out a great team, hire better people. I know I'm nothing without my team. I say it all in all. I am very grateful for my team and how amazing they are. Just backdate your goals, right? Go under what is the organization going to need, how many people are going to need to hire, and then you can kind of track through all of that. Man, when you want something, take a picture of it, save it to your phone. I mean, I want an airplane and a Lamborghini. I do have the Lamborghini. I would like another one, and I want a jet. So that's why that's there, because if you can vision it, you can make it happen. And so I always want to make those things happen. So those were kind of the key things Chris Lee talked about. I loved him. Once again, he was a solar business, did really amazing. Man, Jerome, I don't know how to say his last name, but he is a builder. He talked amazing things. It really resonated with me because I sold new homes for 3-ish plus years. That was the W-2 I came out of before I started this job. And he just really talked about how you can make good money in building and how you can acquire land and how you can make really great money on selling on lots that are a little bit outside of town on an acre or two. People love that. And I thought that was really great and really inspired me. And then he talked about if you go build multifamily and use cost segregations and all these things, then you won't have to pay any taxes on your income. And you could be I think it's 1% of the population who pays taxes, doesn't pay any taxes due to cost segregation and real estate depreciation. So that was really incredible. And he broke down his building costs, which I don't think I've heard anyone break down the way he did. So that was amazing. Tommy Mello, man. Tommy Mello and Chris Lee were the two reasons I want to go. I've been following Tommy Mello for a year. He's the Home Service Expert podcast. Check out that if you want to learn how to grow a big business. Tommy, same thing. In 5 to 6 years, grew his company from 0 to 250. Tommy sold it for $300 million, or walked away with a $300 million check and kept 50% ownership and is still running the company. And what he talked about is hiring and recruiting are the big differences, taking care of people, and just focusing on the task at hand. Don't go start a new business. Don't go do this. Man, he took a garage door service company and they're going to be an excellent. They're going to do over $1 billion of revenue in the next 3 years in a single year by the end of 2027, I believe he said. And so if he can do that in garage doors, why can't we do that in real estate? Right? So many people want to go flip houses, get into solar, just do the next thing, education, all those things. He's like, just focus, put racehorse blinders on and do the task at hand and just finish. Be super specific of what your goals are, what you want. Be selfish. Do things for yourself and your family. And don't quit till you get those things. He also talks about some automations he's using, how Google reviews have helped him, and just being really amazing there. There were other people who talked about. Next was Ryan, brought on a panel. This guy, Omar, is doing $560,000 a month in wholesaling in June. And how he said, just grow your income. Don't worry about investing right now. You don't have money to invest. Just grow your income. There's Stephanie, who had a CRM system that she'd built out, along with she builds new builds. And this gentleman, Ivan, who does $50K gross every month on 18 properties in Airbnb. So it doesn't matter what you do. One did wholesale, one did new builds, and one did Airbnb. There's 3 different strategies. They were all grossing $50K plus a month. I think 2 of them were netting $100K a month. So it's like, man, just stop trying to pick your lane. Just pick a lane that you can do for 10 years and go do it, and you'll be really good at it if you have a big enough dream. Then they had a tax guy, and he really broke down, and I've known this for a long time. Taxes are just a game. Most things in life are a game. Divorce is a game through the courts. It's all a game, right? You got to play the game. You got to play it by the rules. That's a game. A lot of people don't realize that, and that's why they lose the game. But it doesn't matter if you know the game or not. You're still going to lose the game, whether you realize you're playing or not. So learn the game of taxes if you want to get wealthy and want to keep more money in your pocket. You talked about all that on how real estate is a great way to avoid paying taxes. Talked about self-directed, IRAs, everything like that. Then lunch. Lunch was great. Got to connect with people. Carlos Reyes was in after lunch. He brings a lot of energy, immigrant, and he just can't make excuses. Carlos has done so many things in this business world. I think he owns 8 or 9 businesses now. And so he's just resilient, talks about keep going and how mindset's so important. You got to dream big and think bigger for everyone else. Overcome and just love yourself. No one else needs to love you, but you need to love yourself. Then next, Ryan and Mindy were on talking about relationships and how they work together, how they let go of conflict, right? And how they take care of each other's priorities. They use faith, and it's a muscle, right, that we all have got to grow. And they did a really good job sharing how they had such a great relationship with all the trials and tribulations they've been through. Next, there was Brandon Turner. Like, Brandon Turner had a lot to talk about. I mean, he has $1 billion in real estate, so why wouldn't you listen? Talk about being present where your feet is. The quality of your life is the direct reflection of the questions you ask. Ask better questions and get better answers, and watch your quality of life go up. He said, all of us have a problem that someone else has solved, so stop thinking that your problem is unique to you. It never is. He talked about how he was struggling to get his kid out of bed, to sleep in his own bed. Well, he got, oh shoot, I can't remember what it's called. I have one for my daughter. But it's like a Terrence Colors when they can get out of bed. And he's like, the first day they used that, his kid started sleeping in his bed. Amazing, right? So keep those things in mind. You get what you focus on. Ask yourself what you really want and go deeper, right? Until you find the true reason why you want it, and then go attack that goal and make it happen. Then I think the next thing, Ryan was there to wrap up. He talked about the importance of taking a risk. So many people want no risk. Well, if there is no risk, there is no reward. And so he talked about how to find deals, use other people's money. And he talked about the difference between education and implementation. Education doesn't matter if you go get implementation. How do I know that? There's so many people with college degrees who struggle to pay their bills. They have some of the greatest education in the world, but they can't pay their bills. So it doesn't matter if you go to all the events in the world if you don't implement anything. So his biggest thing was Do not go home and not take anything away from this event. Do something, implement something, and go change your life. So that's part one of that. I want to make sure you guys really break this down, and we'll dive into this a little bit later. I'm going to do a part two here shortly. Thank you for listening to the Properties for Profit podcast. I hope you found today's episode valuable. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and share it with others who might benefit. Follow me on social media for more updates and tips. Until next time, keep turning properties into profits.